your press office tweeted out that it was state-sponsored terrorism, which, I mean, Governor, I just have to ask you about that. That sort of thing makes our politics worse. Yeah. And it does. Yeah. And our ICE officers obviously are not terrorists. Yeah. A tragic situation is not state-sponsored terrorism.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
You know, months ago, I got into a blue MAGA again because when Gavin Newsom's press office Twitter account was writing really funny dunks on the Trump administration, a lot of people immediately ran to say, oh, look at how amazing he's fighting back against Trump. He should be the president. And I was met with a ton of backlash and hate when I simply said, stop trying to make Gavin Newsom happen. He's garbage. And I said at the time, which he'll confirm in this clip, that just because he has a funny staff that is writing these funny tweets for him doesn't mean he isn't a total hack. Doesn't mean he isn't always pandering to the right wing. And a bunch of pathetic, simping, bootlicking blue MAGA liberals came into my comments and stitched the video to be like, actually, he should be. Fuck a primary. Fuck the people having any say. We should just crown this guy. I have been talking about this lobster-colored bottle of hair gel for a while. Every time I do, blue MAGA liberals come out of the woodwork to defend him, only a few months, sometimes weeks, before he comes out and throws people under the bus again to pander to the right. Did you not hear that clip of Ben Shapiro and him right there? His press office, the funny press office account, called the assassination of Renee Good by the ICE thugs state-sponsored terrorism, in which, yeah, actually, that was really the right thing to do. Then Ben Shapiro comes out and goes, you shouldn't have said that. And his response is to immediately throw his staff under the bus and all the protesters and go, you're right, that's fair. You think this guy has what it takes to be president? Putting aside that, why the fuck just Ben Shapiro thinks that he's the moral authority on anything? I love when he's like, this just makes our politics worse. This kind of rhetoric. Actually and truly shut the fuck up, Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro has made all of his money, his entire career, off of making the worst of our politics. He has made his whole career trashing marginalized communities, putting up random people with no power from TikTok, queer people, and people from the left to make fun of them and marginalize them and humiliate them and create hate against them. This guy's whole project is to make the American people hate each other. That's literally his whole project, is to polarize our politics and make the American people hate each other so he can divert their attention away from the things that he really cares about, which is Israel. And of course, the 1% and billionaire class of which he works for and is a part of. The fucking nerve of this pipsqueak actually lecturing anybody on what makes our politics worse. Like, this guy wouldn't have a career if it wasn't for trashing the American people and pitting them against each other. But back to Newsom. Stop trying to make him happen, okay? Because we're not done with his ass. He then goes on to appease Ben Shapiro more and do genocide denial and talk about how much he loves Israel.
It seems to have become a sort of de rigueur requirement for Democrats who are running for office to now suggest, for example, Scott Wiener just did this, he's running for Congress, that Israel committed genocide in Gaza. That is, forget about anti-Semitism discussions of it, because I think that those have become really loose and people don't have a consistent definition of anti-Semitism. Let's just talk about what's true.
That's true. I think it's true about the definition. I mean, we, as you know, have been struggling with that in California as it relates to a lot of laws and legislation.
Of course, it's a different cat than, for example, racism. It's basically a conspiracy theory about Jewish power in the world.
But, and it makes me sick to my stomach, and I say that clearly. And no, but not just, of course. I mean, we've tried to lead in terms of our response, and we've called out and called balls and strikes in terms of the outrageous things that happen.
Gavin Newsom means when he says combating anti-Semitism, he means signing a bullshit censorship bill in California that makes it illegal to talk about the genocide in Gaza and conflates criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. Guys, this just happened in October. He signed a bill to empower the ADL and their allies to actively suppress discussion of Palestinians as victims of genocide and the occupation in California schools. So California being one of the biggest states in the country, they want to propagandize students from learning about what's actually happening in Gaza legally. So that's who this lizard ass bitch is. But for some reason, even though he is a Democrat, he is sitting there trying to get the approval of a radical, lunatic, right-wing Zionist extremist, Ben Shapiro. Tell me, chat, do you ever see a Republican politician sitting with what they would call a radical leftist trying to pander to them and agree with everything they say? Why are you trying to get a right-wing extremist to agree with you? Aren't you the governor of one of the most liberal states in the country? Something Ben Shapiro loves to remind you of and trash you for? Ben Shapiro's literally spent years saying Gavin Newsom was the worst governor in the country and the personal reason why he picked up his family and left California and moved to Florida. What's so funny about how full of shit liberals in the Democratic Party are is that if a more progressive member of Congress or governor had sat down to glaze a right-winger, they'd all be having a fucking meltdown and talking about how that person's career needed to be over. But Gavin Newsom does it weekly, and they're like, he should be president.
Saying overtly false things about the Jewish state is a form of anti-Semitism, but I don't think that that is really important as much as it is it true or not? So Democrats have now been dragged into this conversation, some run with, flags waving, into the conversation
about genocide.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, look,
Israel did not commit a genocide in Gaza. There's no standard by which Israel committed a genocide in Gaza, just on a factual level.
Just as a legal and factual level.
Yes.
Yeah.
What is your opinion of this?
My opinion is, I understand the tendency for people to make that, to assert that.
Why?
On the basis of the images and the proportionality
as it relates to genocide.
No. And by the way, I agree with you.
And international and proportionality doesn't mean that if you kill my child and I then kill 7 criminals, that I've been disproportionate.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think but I understand that tendency on the basis of trying to.
I love how Newsom will be like, I understand the tendency to shut up. I don't care how many times Ben Shapiro tries to lead somebody in a struggle session about how it's not actually genocide by any factual statistical measure, except every single fucking human rights organization has said exactly that. By any body that objectively measures whether or not a genocide has occurred, they have said it's a genocide in Gaza. And then he's so disgusting in the way that he goes, oh, if somebody kills my child, but I kill 7 criminals, referring to the children in Gaza, then that's justified. That's collateral damage. These people are sick. But here's the thing. No one is surprised that Ben Shapiro, who is an extreme lunatic Zionist, racist, is saying that. You should be disgusted. You should be fucking outraged that this clown is sitting there, not just agreeing with him, but trying to get his approval. You're embarrassing. You're so embarrassed. You're not going to be president. I'm telling you that right fucking now, Blue MAGA. I know you're going to try to make him happen. You're already trying to make him happen. I am not voting for this hoe. And just to point out to the bootlickers who will come in and be like, actually, that's like single issue voting. Not only is Gaza not a single issue, but I can name a lot of reasons why I wouldn't vote for this greaseball, okay? A lot of reasons. Starting also with the fact that he's got no fucking spine, no vision, and no leadership qualities. And he appears, despite the fact that he leads one of the most liberal states in the country, to be trying to get the approval of a fucking fascist. Which is actually no surprise, because after last year's election, he decided that he was going to start a podcast and immediately bring on a bunch of fascists to glaze them, including Charlie Kirk, where he talked about how much his son loved him and looked up to him. I'll tag that video because I know a lot of you guys ignored it. A lot of Blue MAGA ignored it. You guys didn't want to talk about that. But maybe you'll become ready eventually. And it's not just me. Literally no one on the left, no one who is progressive is going to vote for him, okay? So before you all start crying and doing we have to vote for him or else maybe a fascist might win, but if they don't, he'll be here to glaze them and lick their toe. Maybe start thinking about another plan. Because you're not going to be able to whine and cry about it when we're giving you like 4 years notice.